Matt Dinerman here. When you're watching out of the starting gate, that means that live racing is in play. We are back, kicking off the Classic meet. For the first time, we've got that holiday meet and then the Classic meet starting on Thursday through Sunday racing. We've got a lot of ground to cover. We're going to get to it here, and to take you through all the stakes action, all the analysis, my special guest this week, Andie Biancone. You know her from FanDuel TV and also, of course, doing a little bit of side work for us here in the paddock. We're going to have you on the air here Friday for our pre-race show, Oaklawn Today with Nancy Holthus. I know, Andie, that you got a chance to go to Florida, see your family, do some analysis for FanDuel TV, but I'm sure you're happy to be back at Oaklawn.
Yes, I consider Oaklawn my winter home now, so very excited to be back and obviously helping you guys out and working the show here, but it's great. Got on the track this morning. It's in perfect condition and really excited for all the stakes action we have this weekend.
She's working off the clock here. You're going to be giving us all sorts of analysis for all the stakes races we have this week, Thursday through Sunday racing again. Led, of course, on Friday by the Southwest Stakes card. The Southwest, $1 million, 20 Kentucky Derby points given out to the winner of that race. Also the Martha Washington, which is awarding Kentucky Oaks points to the top placers there. That's on the Southwest Friday card. We'll get through all the stakes. I'll give you a clocker pick, and then we'll wrap things up here. But even though there's not a ton of items on the agenda, there is a lot of material to go over.
A ton of material to go over. Stakes every single day, Thursday through Sunday. It's a jam-packed weekend.
I mean, we've got stakes, we've got good allowance races, some maiden races that are going to attract some pretty nice younger horses. So there's a lot of ground to cover. We need to get to that. Let's get to it. We start before the handicapping and analysis of our horse player contest this week, Andie. We've got two pretty cool horse player contests for you. If you're not on site, you can play on ExpressBet, Twin Spires, or Keeneland Select. Those are 380Ws that you can sign up and play these two separate contests here at Oaklawn. On Friday is the Southwest Showdown. Saturday, the Oaklawn Horse Players Championship Challenge. Go to oaklawn.com for more information. But the top placers in there receive cash prizes along with possible seats to the BCBC, the NHC Horse Players Championship in Las Vegas, and also the Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge. So a lot of cool things we're giving away. And again, you can play it here if you're in the area, or you can play on Twin Spires ExpressBet, or of course, Keeneland Select. Andie, of course, we got a lot of stakes action to get to, so we start on Thursday, a 10-race program there. First post is 12:30, and let's take a look at the feature race here, the 5th season stakes for older routers, 4-year-olds and up, going a mile here. Andie, you know, this race is going to be affected by scratches. The 8-5 morning line favorite, Pony Express, withdrawn from the race. We also have Como Rabino Amoide, who is projected to scratch, and one of the David Jacobson runners, either number 3, Thought That Counts, or number 7, Runaway Again. One of those two is projected to come out. That is not only going to take out some main contenders, but it's going to take out some pace presence as well. Yeah,
very much affects the pace of the race. Obviously, Pony Express would have been your controlling speed. Combrino Amboine is a horse who likes to be forward as well. And depending on which of the David Jacobson horses scratches, I mean, Thought That Counts has been a rallying sprinter, but with the stretch out to a mile, he might find himself forwardly placed. So if he is a scratch, then your pace is left to the number 9, Speed King, on the very outside. And I think that very much helps him.
And Speed King really put up a show last time out. Let's take a look at his last replay here, sprinting. He won the Southwest last year, Andie, and we saw him this year running this sprint race and dominate his competition in a good allowance race here, getting back to the 2 turns. And as you mentioned, Andie, Pony Express scratching probably helps Speed King more than anybody else.
Absolutely, and I do think Speed King was at a little bit of an advantage having the outside post. He's got the speed to manage it, but also, you know, instead of taking pressure, can kind of be the one on the outside, picking and choosing his spot. But with the scratches of the speed to the inside, obviously that 9 post will move in, and I do think he gets an easy lead in the 5th season, which is what he wants. He wants to be loose on the lead. He's a free-running horse. He's capable of sustaining fast fractions, and he's proven here at Oaklawn. He's got 4 runs, 2 wins, and I like that he's got 2 sprints coming into the 5th season, 2 sprints to a route.
I would think Speed King will go off favored with all these notes in mind. One horse that you want to mention here, I know, Seize the Night, Andy, for the Sippy Contreras barn. This horse, first off the claim for Sippy, ran a terrific race and a good dated allowance race. This horse is a stakes winner here already here at Oaklawn Park. What do you like about this horse?
I just like that he's a tough older horse and he's in very good form right now. It's always trying, horses stepping into their 4-year-old season when they have to face these 7, 8-year-old war horses. I mean, Seize the Night has 6 lifetime wins, 14 runs at Oaklawn Park and 4 wins here. And granted, he's going to be one who will benefit from a little bit of pace. I do think he can sit a close race. I don't necessarily think he's going to be far out the back, but certainly Speed King will be faster coming out of the sprint. But I do think he's kind of your next most logical horse here.
Speed King, he's going to be trying to go gate to wire, going the flat mile here, which will end at the 16th pole. Andy thinks Seize the Night is a good chance to maybe upset last year's Southwest winner. That is the 5th season stakes on Thursday afternoon. Opening day of the Classic meet. Cool that we have 2 opening days here this year, Andy. And then we move to Friday afternoon. Big day for us, obviously, the Southwest card. We've got 4 stakes races on the docket. We start things off with the General MacArthur. That's race number 8. $135,000 is the pot. It's an overnight stakes here. First things first, Sir Graylin, who is the morning line favorite, he's not going to run. He's actually re-entered in a race on Saturday, a good dated allowance race. He will scratch out of the General MacArthur and go into that allowance. So another key scratch and another stakes race to kick things off here. Andy, I think one horse that most people are going to be paying attention to, and we'll take a look at his replay here, is Energize for Godolphin and Mike Stidham. This horse actually was working here at Oaklawn last year before his first race and has really improved with time, and he's run well at this distance.
Yes, he certainly has. 2 runs at the distance, 1 win, 1 third-place effort. And last time out at Turfway Park, he faced very good company, Final Gambit, Anegada. And now he gets back onto his preferred surface, which I think is the dirt. And I do think it puts this horse at a little bit of an advantage with the fact that he's been stabled at the fairgrounds. So he's kind of had training. This is a 1 1/8 race. Obviously, we didn't train for some time here at Oaklawn Park. And, obviously, Oaklawn has fantastic facilities, a jogging wheel, big shed rows that allows horses to kind of lope around and stuff like that. And trainers are prepared, kind of giving their horses bigger works prior to that. Snowmegadon. But I do think it does help Energize, especially with the fact that he's going a 1 1/8, that he's been at the fairgrounds training.
You mentioned Anegada, a runner that Energize finished behind, came back to win the John Connolly Stakes on the turf, going 1.5 miles on Sam Houston Ladies Classic night over in Texas a couple weeks back. So obviously this horse has faced good company. First division, he's a horse that's been stabled here. He's been training here for Kenny McPeak. He's a well-bred horse whose siblings have done good work here against Stakes Company at Oaklawn. In first division last time out, himself ran in the Coach Overnight Stakes, got run down late by Tap Into This. Here's the stretch run from him. I thought this was a very good race from him. He got the right trip sitting off 2 dueling pace setters and eventually got run down late. But it was a good effort, Andy, and with this run in mind, if he can duplicate something close to it, he's one of the horses to beat for sure.
I agree. He was probably my next pick. Very game efforts this year so far. 7 runs at Oaklawn Park, and he's only ever been off the board once. So he's got 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. He's a really consistent horse. And like you said, Matt, if he repeats what he did in the Coach, he should be very, very game here.
And there's one horse that I think you have your eye on, Super Cruise, number 3. This horse is very lightly raced, and let's take a look at his second level or his first level allowance win last time out here. This was a good effort. Again, lightly raced. He's only run a few times, but the talent is there to be a good horse.
Yeah, the talent is absolutely there. And I was actually at Ray Ashford's barn this morning getting shots of Dakota, and I saw Super Cruise. Man, he is just an outstanding horse physically. Even, impressive in the paddock, but for a horse to be so impressive, just standing in their stall with their blanket on really says something. And he's got a great head on him, a very intelligent eye, and I definitely think he's a classy individual.
They bought this horse for over $500,000, so I guess Andy sort of gave the nod as to, yeah, there's a reason they bought him for that type of change. It'll be a fun race. I think a very competitive race. Sir Graylin was clearly the horse to beat. I thought now that he's out, it makes for an even more wide open a betting affair. That's the General MacArthur on Friday. Then we move along to race number 10, the Bugler Overnight Stakes. And this race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up at 6 furlongs. Let's take a look at the field here. It's a full field of 12 entered in this race. And the morning line favorite, Blue Fire, she actually comes here from Louisiana. Louisiana bred for Steve Asmussen. Let's take a look at her replay here against the small field of Louisiana bred. She sort of was drifting out down the lane, which is a little bit of a question mark for me. But other than this, she did it the right way. Now she's going in against Open Company.
Yes, and I think she deserves the test against Open Company. Blue Fire has been beating up on those Louisiana breds at the fairgrounds. She's a great horse. I've seen her in person, but that was last year. She's a great, very honest filly, and she's run well against Open Company before. She finished second in the 8 Bells. She was a huge price that day, but I just remember her looking awesome. Had a little bit of a break over the summer and has been firing down at the fairgrounds. But another thing that I think helps her point is she's been training at the fairgrounds. So shipping in here, she's got that fitness, and she'll be ready to fire.
You work with horses. You've worked your whole life with horses, and obviously you've seen different horses take different types of breaks. We had about a week to 10 day stretch where horses couldn't get on the track. Would you say that that is a big negative? Would you say horses don't lose their fitness? Does it depend on the horse? How do you see this type of deal when you handicap races?
It depends on the horse especially, but it also kind of depends on the operation. You see certain trainers like Mike Maker or even the late Dwayne Lucas or even trainers like Norm Cassie. I feel like those type of horses do okay with this kind of a break because they train pretty hard every day. That's just their style, open gallops, let the horses be in their rhythm, not too much keeping them slow and stuff like that. And then there are trainers who are more quarter horse styled, and train sprinters like Steve Asmussen or a lot of the other guys here, and they tend to like their horses on the fresher side, save something for the race. So I feel like those horses tend to suffer a little bit more just because if they miss a bunch of time, it really does matter because they're kind of kept on the fresher side versus those horses who are having those big open gallops the majority of the time.
And I would feel, hey, if you go to the gym and you work out hard every single day, you take a week off, maybe you lose a couple % of points worth of fitness, but you're still going to feel fit. But if you're not working out that hard, you take a week off, it might take you a few extra days to get back in the saddle, so to speak.
Exactly, and it really depends on the horses. Big, heavy horses might struggle a little more than like a light little filly who's just enjoyed having a couple cozy days. And
Sure.
Of course, just the right decision by the track because there's no way training on a bad track is safe for anybody. So
Sure.
it's much better this way anyways.
And there are some horses that may benefit from maybe a little bit of a freshness.
Exactly,
so to
100%.
speak. Blue Fire, she is one that has that benefit of having trained at the fairgrounds. And a number of trainers, Tom Amos, Brad Cox, Steve Asmussen, Chris Hartman, folks that have strings in Louisiana at the fairgrounds have sent some of their horses to train down there while we took this weather break here. Pistol, let's get to her. Let's get back to the race analysis. We talked about Blue Fire, one of the ones to beat in the race. Jose Ortiz riding. He'll be aboard, and he's here Friday and Saturday for racing here at Oaklawn. Pistol's a long shot you fancy a little bit here, and it looks like there was an equipment change that maybe you thought was beneficial to this runner, Pistol.
Yes, so I have paddock picked Pistol more times than I can admit. She's beautiful. She's got a great way about her. Just love Pistol, and she's a very game, hard trying mare. Last time out at Churchill Downs, I looked at her and I said, damn, she looks so good. But I was like, I had kind of gotten off the Pistol wagon just because her runs up to that race weren't very good. So I did not paddock pick her. Sure enough, they had added an extension blinker that day. So a blinker that kind of covered the right side of her eye. She won by 2 lengths, and it was a good field. She paid $53 on something. And
53-1, I think.
Yes,
think she paid over $100.
Yes, and I spoke to Tommy Vanberg after the race, and he said, man, that extension blinker really helped her, really made a difference. Francisco Arrieta said, she had not been handling great. She'd been getting out a little bit, and that blinker really just made a huge difference for her. Mentally, she went straight. She stopped getting out, and sometimes that's what it takes for a horse. Horses get out for a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it really is just a mental thing. So Pistol certainly benefited from that extension blinker. My only concern is she hasn't run since November, and she's quite lightly worked coming into this spot. Granted, it is, she's running 6 furlongs, and she's an older mare. But with that being, so that would be my only concern. But with that being said, I felt like it was important to have that conversation about that blinker because it moved her forward last time so much. So I think we're more likely to see that version of pistol with that blinker remaining than the pistol we had seen prior to her getting the extension blinker.
You talk about she's only running 6 furlongs. Would you say that stretching horses out off a layoff or without some training time, it's harder to get them fit to do that than a sprint, even though they're going faster in a sprint?
I would say so. Yeah, just think of, cross-country runners versus sprinters. Sprinters have that natural speed. Cross-country, you kind of got to, obviously some horses it's easier for them to go long distance than sprint. But it's good to get some air in the lungs.
One that got plenty of air in her lungs when she won this very nice running of a stakes race here at Oaklawn was Foie Gras for the Mike Maker barn. You mentioned Mike. This runner here looked fantastic winning this race here over Coaster, who's a major player in an allowance race this weekend. This is a little bit of a tougher group now. She's facing not restricted stakes caliber runners like we saw in this run here. Now she's going up against non-restricted stakes company, but she won the right way, Andie.
Yeah, she really did. And this is one who maybe the break actually kind of helps. Like I said, Mike Maker, a trainer who open gallops his horses. That's his style. He's had a lot of success doing that. There's no right. There's a million ways to train a horse, no right or wrong. And she's had fast workouts coming into this spot as well. So think about it, like big open gallops every day, fast works, and now she has that break. She's freshening up. The break could kind of do her well.
Should get a good stock and pounds trip. Foie Gras being one of the morning line favorites in the Bugler overnight. I also think Hush It Honey's one to watch out for. She won an allowance race here, actually at Churchill Downs a couple of months ago. Freshens up for Randy Morse. Another one like Pistol, sort of the same type of pattern. Won a race at Churchill, freshens up. Doesn't have an extremely strong group of works, a little bit on the lighter side in terms of foundation, but she is one. Of course, she won the Rainbow Miss here last year. She's an Arkansas bred, but don't be scared of her because she's got talent.
Yes, I mean, she beat Open Company last time out at Churchill, and a good group at that. And something to pay attention to, Hush It Honey has run well off of long layoffs in the past. So some horses, if you look at, break and they run well off the layoff, that could just be that individual horse. So this break could have done her well. The freshening could have done her well. Randy Moore's also very good with this kind of layoff, hits at about 20%. And she's got 4 wins at Oaklawn Park, so definitely likes it here.
We're going to rewind a little bit on this card. We go back to race number 6, which is our next topic of discussion. We just talked about the Bugler Overnight Stakes for filly and mare sprinters. Let's talk about this race right here. This is the Martha Washington for 3-year-old fillies at 8.5 furlongs here. And Andie, here's the field. A good field of 8 signed on. 20 Kentucky Oaks points to the winner of this race, and even the placers right behind her get some points as well. We're not going to go over the whole field, but we will go over plenty of them. And we're going to start with Hit Parade, a runner for trainer Brad Cox, who was very impressive winning a stake down in Louisiana against Open Company, got a little Oaks points herself, a few of those. And this was a very game win. It wasn't flashy, but she had to work every step of the way and outran Company to her inside, which tells me she's got some grit to her. And you can't teach heart. They either have it or they don't.
Exactly, and I definitely think she showed a lot of grit in that run, but has never been off the board. So super consistent filly. She's been training at the fairgrounds. And like you said, Matt, just showed a lot of tenacity in that last race.
Yeah, Hit Parade, Luis Saez had the call that day, is back aboard here at Oaklawn. Of course, Luis Saez, this is his first season winnering at Oaklawn, and not a surprise, he's done very well here for agent Kieran McLaughlin. Mark Casse, we talk about somebody who's having a good meet. He seems to just be winning and firing on all cylinders, and he's got 2 very live horses in this year's Martha Washington. We'll start with the one who's a little more proven, Counting Stars, who is the only 2-time stakes winner at the meeting. Here she is winning a stake at Oaklawn in December. This runner wheeled back in just 13 days after a nice sprint stake win and got the job in this race, the Year's End Stakes, right before New Year's Day. So her last race is a 2-year-old filly. She couldn't have been more impressive here.
No, and that was the first time she had got into 2 turns, and I think it really moved her forward. She's bred for the distance. She's by Honor AP out of a painter mare, and she had been very game in those sprint efforts, but I absolutely think we can see a new dimension of Counting Stars now that we get to the 2 turns.
And I liked how much she relaxed in that race. And sometimes horses, Andie, you've seen them when they wheel back quickly, they still have racing on their mind. They're keen to get out there again. They get a little bit headstrong. You don't really train them too hard if they wheel back in a couple weeks, so they're fresh in that regard. But she relaxed really nice, and that's a major key when you're looking at any of these younger horses going to the route game. Can they relax?
Absolutely, and I mean the fact that they wheeled her back in such short time really tells me that that win in the Astrals Spa really didn't take much out of her. It was an easy win. She must have come back out of her skin, bouncing around. Horsemen look at this kind of thing. They, more often than not, you're seeing how your horse comes out of it the next day. You're looking at them on the day-to-day basis to help you make these decisions. So I'm sure, that's just very telling of her ability that she came out of that in such good form.
She's my pick in the race. I think she is not only very good, I think she could be a star throughout 2026. I think she is very, very good, and I think she's going to show it in the Martha Washington again. Her stablemate is no slouch, though. Search Party, who took a little while to break the maiden, ran well in some of these races, but was just second, third best, but the light bulb came on for her last time out. Here's a look at the replay. Christian Torres is aboard, back aboard again for the Martha Washington. Sometimes these fillies, when they start getting good, they get really good, like Counting Stars, and maybe this is exactly what the doctor ordered for this gal to take another step forward and win again.
Agreed, and she had been running against competitive company, and it's not like she wasn't running her races, but she really took that step forward next time, last time out, and I do think she can continue that coming into the Martha Washington.
There is one runner that I think at a price you want to look at for the Kenny McPeek barn. I know Andie likes her a little bit. Spitfire, who, believe it or not, I actually saw her at Monmouth Park over the summer where she placed in a stake there. Ran second that day, got run down late, but ran a good race. She hasn't been seen since September out of a race at Laurel Park. Her numbers are a little light in terms of speed figures, but she freshens up, and Kenny McPeek must think something of her if he's putting her in an Oaks prep right away.
Absolutely, and I think she obviously, numbers-wise, needs to take a step forward, but I like everything that I've seen from her in her prior starts. She broke her maiden against restricted maiden special weight company at Saratoga. That was going 3/4. Then she tried the route next time out in the sorority stakes at Monmouth Park, to where she had barely any pace to run out. Okay, they went tepid fractions, 24, 48, and she rallied from off of it quite nicely. She got beat by a nice filly by the name of Dazzling Dame. And came back on the grass at Laurel Park in the Salima, but has since had a break and now comes in here working well at the fairgrounds. And I think, I know she's 15-1 on the morning line, but maybe worth a look at a big price.
That's the Martha Washington Stakes. The main contenders we discussed, $300,000 is the pot, a good amount of money for the 3-year-old fillies to run. And we're also going to see Grace's Free, by the way. I just want to mention her. Yeah. She was a really nice winner of the Mockingbird Stakes sprinting for Kelsey Haar, Robert Klein. They're fan favorites. They do a tremendous job at how hard they work, making sure their horses are ready to go. It was great to see them get a win. She's going to 2 turns, but that's a question mark. Nonetheless, that's one that I think fans are going to be rooting for.
Absolutely. And looking at her physically, she might want to turn. She's a very big filly.
Okay.
With that being said, she's by American Freedom, so that's kind of where I was a bit hesitant. I want to see what she does going 2 turns, and she's got a good setup, 2 sprints coming into this route, and obviously just such a good team to root for.
That's the Martha Washington Stakes, the main contenders. That's race 6 on the 12-race program at Oaklawn. Now it's time for the big one, ladies and gentlemen, race number 11, the Southwest Stakes. $1 million in the pot here for 3-year-olds, 20 Kentucky Derby points awarded to the winner, and some other points generated for the underneath placers, getting some points towards that illustrious first Saturday in May race. Let's take a look at the field here. Full field of 14. You don't see this often anywhere, Andy, but here at Oaklawn we see big fields, and in this Derby prep here, we have a major scratch right away, first and foremost. Litmus test, broken in the news by yours truly, is out of this race. Bob Baffert delegating to run this horse in March in the next round of Derby preps, whether it be the San Felipe at Santa Anita or possibly the Rebel here at Oaklawn. Those are 2 possibilities for litmus test. He will not compete. He was 5-2 on the morning line. Major scratch here. Still with a good field of 13 at this time during our recording of the show here. We're going to go through the whole field, Andy, and we start with Reclamation, number 1, 30-1 the morning line. Ran second to Decode last time out, or 2 starts ago, and then came back and won last time out in very impressive fashion. Going 2 turns for the first time. That's a question mark, and he's going to have to take another step forward again, just like he did in Lifetime Start number 2, to be competitive in a race like this.
Yes, absolutely. And Chris Davis has always thought really highly of Reclamation. I know he really likes the horse and thinks he's a very talented individual. With that being said, I do think the rail draw is a little bit difficult for him. He is a little bit of a keen horse. We saw him duel into the first turn on debut. And I do kind of worry that could happen to him here from the rail, but who knows? Chris likes him, so 30-1, I'm going to choose elsewhere, but just...
I think he's a good horse. The question is, can he go the 2 turns? And maybe
Right.
if this is a little bit too much too soon for him. But I liked his last race and think there's reason to believe he can be an effective racehorse. Dakota's number 2. He's the talk of the town, especially after his first race, which he got a 99 buyer. Here's a look at that replay here. There was some buzz around this horse, Andy. I had heard that he could run. You might expect him to run well. I don't think anybody can expect a horse to run quite this well on debut. This was as impressive as he can get.
Yeah, an explosive debut win for Dakota. Beat Silver Prince, who is a nice Ron Moquette horse, and beat him by 8 1/4 lengths. So very telling if you're able to put away a good group of maiden special weight horses like that. And they take the next step forward here, going to 2 turns in the Southwest. It's just going to be whether he handles the 2 turns, another horse. But he was very impressive on debut and has been working well leading up to the break.
Do you think that he will be going 2 turns no problem? Or would you look elsewhere and maybe think he's a sprinter? What do you think?
I think he should handle the 2 turns, especially in the way he works. He always gallops out quite good. With that being said, I'd like to see another dimension of him if he's able to, sit back. Some horses get very competitive with others around them, and that's when you get a speed duel. And he got he was very dominant last time out. He took the lead and never looked back. So it's just going to be kind of interesting to see if he runs them off their feet, if he kind of parks it in duels, or if he's able to sit off the pace a little bit.
Butane number 3. We've seen Bob Baffert send very good horses here over the years to the Arkansas Road to the Kentucky Derby, and he is looking to win a Southwest here with this 7-figure purchase owned by Zidane Racing. Joel Rosario with the call here. Let's take a look at a recent workout from him from our friends at XB TV. They do a great job there over at Santa Anita. Butane, you can see here in the work, he's trying to lug in a little bit. We saw that in his last race where he was second as the odds-on favorite, trying to get in a little bit. So this isn't something we haven't seen from him before. The question is, Andy, from a horsewoman's perspective, why is he trying to get in like this?
It could be anything, horses get in and get out for various reasons. I do think the stretch out and distance will help Butane.
Okay.
He could just be going a little quick for his personal liking. He might like going 2 turns to where he breaks, is right on the pace, can kind of sit on the bridle off the pace. We know he can sit off the pace. He has rallied going 7/8 at Santa Anita, which is kind of a difficult thing to do. No doubt of ability there. But the fact that he'll be able to be a little bit forward and on the bridle versus off the pace and having to chase might just resolve the problem of him getting in.
Butane, again, coming off that runner-up finish in the San Vicente, going 7 furlongs. There's a few sprint races under his belt. Now he's getting to the 2 turns, 4-1 on the morning line. Number 4 is Rancho Santa Fe. This horse had just a horrendous trip last time out in the Smarty Jones, which is a local prep for the Southwest and the other 3-year-old stakes moving forward. This horse was wide on both turns. He was off the pace while wanting to run, and they took a hold of him. The pace was slow, 24 and change, 49 and change, and on top of that, that track that day was very much playing towards horses forwardly placed. Just nothing went right for him that day. Andie Biancone.
Yeah, straight up, Matt, he got the Oaklawn kiss of death, which is...
what is that?
Anytime a horse has to go 5 wide into the first turn here, that is the Oaklawn kiss of death. And even more so when the track is playing to speed, when he's out of his rhythm, fighting the rider, fighting the rating. That takes a lot out of a horse, and I do think he ran pretty well, even despite. He finished 5th behind a lot of the horses who are a lot of the same horses who are coming back into the Southwest. I do think he deserves another chance. I don't think he's going to go off at 15-1. Is he my favorite? Probably not. Do I think he deserves a little more of a second chance? Absolutely.
Litmus test number 5, he's scratched. Remember that. Number 6, Circle Tap. He broke his maiden here after a few sprint races, getting to 2 turns. A little bit light on numbers. He's one that I think will need to improve a bit. That's Circle Tap, number 6, one of 2 runners for Dallas Stewart. 30-1 on the morning line, this one. We go to Liberty National. He's my top pick in this race, Andy. I think there's a lot of speed in this race. The set up for his off-the-pace style. He reminds me a little of Mystic Dan, who won this race a couple of years ago from McPeak. Just a runner that's slowly getting better, clearly has ability. I liked his last race in the Lecomte, was second best to Chip Honcho, but it was a good effort. Actually, this was the Gunrunner Stakes, excuse me, but Liberty National came up the rail with a good gallop out here. What do you make of his chances?
I like Liberty National as well. I mean, he's shown the ability to rally into slow fractions. Last time in the Gunrunner, he did get some speed to run at, but super game, like you said, kind of like Mystic Dan, up the rail, very tenacious, and he got beat by a nice horse. I like Chip Honcho quite a lot for the Steve Asmussen team. Yeah, I think Liberty National makes a ton of sense.
He is on the morning line 10-1. I don't think we're going to get that, but do I think we could get 6-8? Possibly there for Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez Jr. in town to ride him. Number 8, Spirit of Royal, the second Dallas Stewart entrant. He's going to be coming from off the pace as well. Needs to improve and run faster off his last race, but he got to the 2 turns last time, got there in the final strides, going the flat mile, going another 16th. That should help him, and again, the pace should be ripe for him. He's 30-1 on the morning line, just like his stablemate. Number 9, Strategic Risk, a horse a lot of people are going to be playing. Wouldn't surprise me if he went off favorite. He's 9-2 on the morning line. We're not getting that. This horse, a very impressive winner of the Smarty Jones. However, Andy, I do think he got the perfect trip that day.
He did. He benefited from a soft pace and was able to just kick it on clear. So this will certainly be a test for Strategic Risk, but from a physical standpoint, I love the horse.
He's a beautiful horse.
He is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Actually, Keith was with me last time out before the Smarty Jones, and we were both like, oh my gosh, that is a horse. His neck is about this thick. He's got a beautiful head, a beautiful body, and I just think he's proven that he wants 2 turns time and time again. Even at Gulfstream Park when he won the Florida Sires in Reality Stakes, he put that field away by 9 lengths. That was his first time going a mile and a 16th on the dirt, and he certainly carried that momentum into the Smarty Jones. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles the trip. I think he gets a nice post position, and he has the tactical speed to manage that position as well. But a deeper group this time, and interesting to see if he takes a step forward.
Yeah, and the pace scenario will be different. As you mentioned, tougher company. I think one of the reasons he's blown the doors off his competition is because he has a kick, Andy. He's a type of horse that actually can accelerate when you ask him to, versus horses that are grinders that may not win a lot, and or even if they can win, they're winning by narrower margins because they don't have that kick. This horse can actually kick away from his competition. He's one of the horses to beat for sure.
Yeah, he's push button as well. Like, he does what you want, sit off the pace, he's there. He's not like a need the lead type or something like that.
One horse that did get a perfect trip in his last race, I thought, was Bricklin on the lead last time in an allowance race, which you don't often see first level allowances going 2 turns at this stage of the game for restricted 3-year-olds. We saw it with Bricklin, got the win for Rudy Brisset. Jaime Torres has the call here. He's a nice horse. They bought him for $400,000, but there's going to be a lot more speed in here and a lot better competition.
Yes, he definitely got kind of an easy lead last time out. And interesting to see whether he takes a regression off that lifetime best number that he ran. Granted, I'm sure the little bit of a freshening that we've had kind of helps with that. But with that being said, he does absolutely have to take a step forward. Silent
Tactic, number 11. He's sort of a wise guy horse, I think, in here. A lot of people have been sort of keeping their eye on him as opposed to Strategic Risk, even the stablemate. He ran second in the Smarty Jones, ran on synthetic to kick off his career. A $500,000 sale purchase by Tacitus. Sort of runs like his papa, in my opinion, a bit of a grinder type, but he's around and he's got ability.
He's sneaky horse, and he looks more like the Gunrunner side than the Tappet side, looking at him physically, so his mother's side.
Yep.
But quite impressive effort last time out. As you said, Matt, that was a speed-biased racetrack. They went crawling on the lead, and he was able to make up good ground and finish second by 4.5 lengths behind the stablemate. So I absolutely think he can take a step forward from that run. That run was also off a layoff, but physically, I think I was on them 1-2. I think I had the exact, because I thought Silent Tactic looked very, very good. My question was whether he'd handle the dirt, and he clearly did. But he's a beautiful horse as well.
Baytown Dreamer, number 12. He was 83-1 last time and ran third in the Smarty Jones. He's going to have to really pick it up to get a placing again against a tougher field here. He's 30-1 on the morning line, but ran a respectable race. And I didn't buy them for much, $5,000, and they made six figures. So with that alone, they've had a successful time with it, but he will be a long shot once again, Baytown Dreamer. We're getting into territory now with the last couple horses to where post position could make a huge difference here. Not a desirable post for number 13, Soldier and Diplomat, $900,000 purchase for the Steve Asmussen barn. Jose Ortiz riding this one 12-1 on the morning line. If he had a better post, I think more people would like him. I thought his last race against Further Ado in the Jockey Club Stakes at Kentucky, Churchill Downs, was not a bad race. Here's the look at the replay. He dueled on the lead, fought hard to the wire, didn't win. I thought it was more respectable than maybe people give him credit for.
I agree. I thought he showed quite a lot of tenacity there. Just got a little tired at the end.
Yeah.
But it was a good run, to say the very least. And, you know, he comes in here a little bit off a layoff. I do think you're right. The post position is kind of what is worrisome, but he does have some gas pedal. He's got some skirt, beep, beep. So if Jose is able to get him out of there and put him hopefully in a forward position, stalking position from that outside post, I don't think the 13 hole would be the worst thing in the world. If, like I said, Jose can skirt, beep, beep out of there.
He needs to break and he needs to get over. That's
yes, no kiss of death. You don't want the Oaklawn kiss of death. Wide in the first turn.
Especially in $1 million race.
No. Yep.
Sleeping on Freedom, number 14, last one we'll mention briefly here. This horse finished off the board in the Smarty Jones, wheeling back the other McPeak entrant in the race. He's 30-1 on the morning line. Will need to improve to win, but a horse that has won a couple of races already in his career. That's the full field. We got through them all. The stake of the week, that's the Southwest. Grade $3 million on the line there. That's race 11 on the 12-race card on Friday, Southwest Day. Andy, we turn the page to Saturday. Fun does not stop. Good racing does not stop. Not even close. Saturday's big race, the Bayakoa, grade 3, $250,000 on the line there. And the headliner is an Eclipse Award winner, a top 3-year-old filly of 2025. Her name is Nitrogen, and that is why Jose Ortiz is sticking around to ride on Saturday. She draws in with a field of 7. She draws the outside post, ran second in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Let's take a look at her win in the Grade 1 Alabama in New York at Saratoga this past summer. Andy, she is all class, isn't she?
Oh my gosh, all class to say the very least. And I remember saying this to Mark Cassidy at the Eclipse Awards. I almost forget that she's just 3 years old because she's done everything. She's so accomplished. Now she's 4 years old, obviously, but she was 3-year-old champion. And she's faced olders and done it well. I can't tell you how difficult it is, not only for a 3-year-old filly to face older mares in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, but to do so having campaigned all summer long. She ran every race at Saratoga. You see a lot of horses come into the Breeders' Cup fresh and they run well. Okay, well, they're fresh. She danced every dance all summer long, came back, finished second against a very nice filly in her own regard, Scylla, and older mares at that. So very telling of her tenacity and her talent, and I'm just so excited for her 4-year-old season.
If anybody can beat her, she's probably not going to be 100% cranked for this race, especially with some time off for the break here. If there's anybody that can beat her, who do you think it is?
I think the stablemate, Narazuri.
Okay.
Just having had the fitness advantage. She won the Oaklawn Sportsbook really nicely here, won by 3.5 lengths, and she's a versatile filly. She's been successful sprinting, routing. I know she draws the rail, but I remember interviewing Christian Torres before her win last time. I said, how do you feel about the inside post, etc. last time? And Christian said not a problem for her at all. The inside post actually helps her because she can be a little bit lazy. So the horses around her kind of help put her in the race, and she doesn't do more than she has to in that situation. She doesn't get ranked, doesn't get keen. So it almost helps that she can save ground here.
Mark Cassidy trains both runners that Andy thinks are very live, and not a surprise, they're the 2 morning line favorites. Nitrogen, the one that's going to have the target on her back, so to speak. And the Bayakoa, that's on Saturday afternoon. Also on Saturday, we just want to briefly touch on Sandman, the Arkansas Derby winner last year. He is back in racing action off a layoff, making his 4-year-old debut for the Cassidy barn. Jose Ortiz, who was aboard in the Arkansas Derby, also has the call there. He draws in with a field of 9. Sir Graylin, we mentioned him. He's also in the race. And there are 4 Kentucky Derby alumni in this race. Sandman, Catching Freedom, Track Phantom, and King Russell. So it's a very good dated allowance that our racing secretary, Pat Pope, wrote, and a good amount of horses are entered in the race as well. All this on Saturday. Sandman, Nitrogen, Bayakoa, going to be a great day of racing. 11 races on the docket on Saturday. And then finally, for the big game. Before the big game, we've got 10 more races on Sunday. We added that card after the cancellations last week, so Thursday through Sunday racing again. First post is noon on both Saturday and Sunday. Let's take a look at the feature race on Sunday. This is the King Cotton Stakes on the road to the Count Fleet Stakes. Roll on Big Joe. He is the morning line favorite for good reason. He looked awesome in the Ring the Bell Stakes. Here's the replay here. A very push-button horse, isn't he, Andy?
Extremely push-button, and a fast button at that.
Very fast.
Very fast button. But no, I think he's a credible favorite. He clearly likes the track. He's 1-for-1 here. He beat Banishing. I mean, he beat a great group of horses and is able to maintain those buyers, those high buyers. He doesn't really have a tendency to regress too much. And I do like that, he's another shipper. So granted, they missed some training in Kentucky as well. But I do think that's kind of interesting that maybe he's been able to work a little more consistently.
Yeah, Bob Hess Jr. apparently will be in town for this race. Really nice gray horse that can go to the lead. He can stalk. Julian Leparoux, he's ridden him well, and he fits this horse really well. Roll on Big Joe, the one to beat. I will say, though, Bourbon Bash, who was coming off about a 20-month layoff last time out for Team Asmussen, here's his first race in 20 months last month, and goodness gracious, this was quite the performance, Andy. Off the layoff, this is a good performance anytime, never mind just coming in off such a long layoff.
Oh my gosh, and he's always had it in him. We've always known he's a talented horse. I think the break must have done very well. You rarely see Steve Asmussen horses work 58 from the gate.
Yeah, that's rare.
That's not really. So what that tells me is that was a very easy work for that horse. That horse did it in hand. No big deal, on his own. Exactly, no urgings. Like I said, Steve kind of has that quarter horse influence about him. He doesn't want them to run their races in the mornings. He wants to save something for the race. So he came back, ran that explosive number off the layoff last time out. And I do think he comes into this race in good form as long as he's able to maintain and not regress. But like I said, he's had 2 good works. He's had a little bit of a break, so maybe less likely of a regression with that.
Joao Rosario, when you see him riding confidently on a horse, it's no clearer than any other rider I've seen on horseback that he thinks he's got the winner, and he rode Bourbon Bash that way, turning from home, just shook the reins at him, and that was that. Both Roll on Big Joe and Bourbon Bash, very push-button horses, so if these two hook up down the lane, it could be a showdown.
Yeah, and then I think it could, if they hook up and they speed duel, I think the horse to watch out for is the number 1, Lipsay Bliss.
Let's talk about him. This race, by the way, of Lipsay Bliss, we're going to take a look at the stretch run. We are not going to see the beginning of the race. Christian Torres got bumped between horses. He was aboard. Lost an iron. This horse was way too far back and closed like a train to win this race. This is a tougher field. This was an allowance race, but the pace could be ripe for him to run on into again.
Exactly, and like you said, Matt, it was a crazy race. Christian Torres lost his stirrup. He was way far out of it. I was like, okay, I remember seeing him in the paddock and thinking he looked good, and when I saw that out of the gate, I was like, all right, no chance, no way.
Sure.
And, he rallied very impressively, and Christian Torres obviously knows this horse very well, knows what he's capable of, and I certainly think that helps as well.
Lipsay Bliss looking for a fast pace to run into again. This will be an acid test for him. And there we go. We did all the stakes races. Are you tired yet, or are you feeling pretty good?
Just getting started.
Beautiful, because we got more work for you to do. So, and for you folks out there listening, we've got a new segment that we're going to be able to do on these big weeks. We're going to call it the play or fades. How this works. We're going to rapid fire through this. Andy will give a little bit of a description of why she's making the decision to play or fade major horses in major races throughout the racing week. We've got a lot of horses here on the grounds ready to run, and we've got a lot of good quality races. So with that in mind, let's get to the play or fade. The very first one with Andie Biancone. Andy, we start with a runner, New What's New, who goes a mile in an allowance race on race 4 on Thursday. This horse got a 101 buyer, breaking his maiden, has always been well regarded. He's facing winners for the first time. Play or fade?
I'm fading. I know that's
fading New What's New.
Yes, I'm fading. I know that's rough because even if he does regress 10 points off that last race, he should be very tough. But I'm banking on regression. I'm also banking on the fact that this is his first time against winners, and he's facing a really good group of older horses. Those older, salty, war horses that have won 7 races.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of an open an open race in that regard. Any of these older horses could certainly jump up and, overtake, with their experience and such. I do think Zero Sugar may be a little bit interesting as well. 2 runs coming into this race. I don't think he's necessarily as talented as Knew What's New, but he's had those 2 races, so I think less likely to regress and more likely to take a step forward.
We start with a fade from Andie Biancone. She's going to try to beat Knew What's New in race 4 on Thursday. We go to the Friday card. Race number 3 features Gettin' By, who just ran a hole in the wind against Open Company, facing Arkansas breds here, second level allowance Arkansas breds, which you don't see often, that type of condition. If he runs like this, he's going to be tough. Do you think he can? Do you think he will? What's your take?
I'm going play. Okay. I'm going play because, like I said, even if he regresses a little, this one, similar situation, huge lifetime best buyer off a layoff. That's where you see tendencies for horses to regress. But with that being said, David Jacobson, pretty mindful of those regressions. He's one of those trainers who kind of likes to keep his horses more fresh, do a little less with them, more 3/8 works kind of thing. So I think that gives him a better chance of maintaining that number. And even if he regresses 10 points, I think he's just run so much better than any of these other Archie breds.
Then we move along to race number 6, a stake, the Martha Washington Hit Parade. Player fade.
Ooh, this was a little bit tough for me, but in the end of the day, I went with a play because I like what I saw and that tenacity we talked about at the fairgrounds. She's been training at the fairgrounds, and I think if she repeats what she's been doing, she should be tough.
Maiden special weight runners go the next race, race 7, featuring Silver Prince. This horse ran second to Decode in that maiden race, was purchased out of that race for over $400,000 a percentage by Dean Reeves, who's now part of the ownership group here. Player fade. This horse is first time routing, and he is even money on the morning line.
Yeah, I went play because I think he wants the route. He's by Cairo Prince out of a Harlan's Holiday mare. Triple Crown nominated, and last time against Decode went wicked fast, and he kind of picked up the pieces to finish second, but that rally he showed, especially being a step slow out of the gate, really tells me that he wants 2 turns.
Race 9 on Friday, a very good race, a first level allowance, featuring a very nice horse, Vital Mind, who broke his maiden here last year. It was second off a layoff here, Vital Mind, first trainer Steve Asmussen. I think facing a little bit of an easier group than last time out, but the question is, what's your take on this?
I went play just because I love the horse. I thought he almost got the job done last time out, but I see him in my head, like I can visually picture him. He's just an adorable horse and a really beautiful horse, so I'm going play.
Vital Mind, that's race 9 on Friday, first level allowance. Then we turn the page to Saturday, race number 4, Sandman off a layoff. Player fade this guy.
Oh my gosh, this is where the heartstrings get pulled because I'm a huge fan of Sandman. I love the Mark Hasse team. I love Griffin Johnson. Seriously, great people. But I think I'm going to go fade.
All right, you got to get it out there, Andie. It's hard for you to even say it.
And I hate to say it, like because Sandman looks fantastic after the break. He's really filled in. He's always been a more feminine-looking horse, just a little bit light and such, but he's got like huge neck on him now. But I think the rail is tough for him. I really, really do. And I think with the fact that Sir Greyland is in that race with Lasix and all that jazz, shipping in from the fairgrounds, yada, 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 I think he'll be tough.
Sunday afternoon, race number 4 is an allowance race for 3-year-olds. So horses that are not in the Southwest, but maybe we'll see them in the Rebel for whoever runs well here. Our Magical Moon, a nice maiden winner for the Mark Casse barn. Player fade with him.
I'm fading.
Okay.
I just think it's a pretty open group. I don't see anyone that necessarily stands out, and I think it's a race where you can take a little bit of a shot elsewhere.
Roll on Big Joe, finally, the last player fade in the King Cotton. We mentioned him very briefly, nice horse, but he's facing nice horses here. Yeah,
and I'm going with play. He's capable of sustaining those high buyers over multiple races. He likes Oaklawn Park. He's a push-button horse, so I'm going with play.
Andie Biancone, her play or fades, I should say, for this week. Well done, Andie. We got the heavy lifting for you done. We got one more segment to go here. Clocker pick. It's time for Denny's Clocker pick of the week. Let's take a look at this first-time starter. Silver Syndicate in race 5 on Friday, Southwest Day. $400,000 son of Liam's Map here, worked out of the gate and galloped out like a horse talented and fit enough to run well on debut as we watch this workout here. This horse has a lot of natural speed out of the gate. He broke a little slow in his first gate work. This is his second one. He worked a little bit better, and on top of that, he broke a little bit better, so he's rounding into form. I love the way this horse galloped out. You're going to see it in a little bit here. Just like a horse that really is going to be very fit for this race. In a way, he worked 5 furlongs, but had a very aggressive gallop out for the final furlong before he hit the finish line here. So all things considered, it was almost like he worked almost 6 furlongs here. He's actually a half sibling to Bookham, who was 3 for 4 in her racing career. She was very fast, won an allowance race by 11 lengths to end her career. This runner here purchased in partnership by Louis Sella, our owner and president of Oaklawn, and also Barstool Sports' Dave Portnoy's Go-Go Gray Stables. So I am not picking this horse just because he is a house horse. I really believe this horse can run a bit, Andy. You can go to oaklawn.com/racing/workouts to find Oaklawn workout videos all throughout the racing season. And Andy, that does it for another edition of Out of the Starting Gate. We want to remind folks, if you want to hear Andy, you can watch FanDuel TV. You can also watch our track feed here at Oaklawn. She'll be in numerous races for the paddock. When the horses are in there, you'll hear her expert insight. She'll also be on the air with Nancy Holthus and I Friday morning for Oaklawn Today. A reminder, Thursday, February 5th, Oaklawn Today starts at 11:10 a.m. First post is 12:30. Southwest Day Friday, early post 11:30 a.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, we go to noon first post. 4 racing days. Andy, thanks for being on with us. I know you're fired up for racing this week. It's going to be a great week of racing.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep. I'm excited.
This is Andie Biancone. She is a FanDuel racing TV analyst, and she's done a fantastic job on Out of the Starting Gate. I'm Matt Dinerman, track announcer here at Oaklawn. Have a great racing week. We're back ready to go for the Classic meet, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Out of the Starting Gate. Until then, make some money and get it done.